So quarantine has you tight financially. Maybe you've lost sources of income, maybe you've lost your job, part-time, full-time, anywhere in between. Now you're working from home and you're trying to figure it out. In this video, I'm gonna teach you how you can create sources of income with the skills that you already have, harness the power of what I call FPC, fastest path to cash, so you can turn your skills and your value into real world dollars that hit your bank account, hit your PayPal, etc., etc. Welcome to this video. Okay, so disclaimer before we start, if you don't believe that this can work for you, it's not gonna work. I think this is the number 1 issue when people look to go make money online or to be resourceful. Like the times that I lost my job, I had a really clear message. You gotta take control, dude. This was the talk that I was telling myself, like nobody's gonna do this for us. And company loyalty, really non-existent. And I believe that no matter who you are, if you have a goal to work for somebody else, you have a goal to be an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. We all need to adopt the mindsets that we believe that we can acquire skills, refine skills, and then go into the marketplace and match the right people with the right problems to create the right solutions. So that's number 1. Number 2, I want to go through the 3 myths that are going to hold you back from actually converting skills into dollars during quarantine season. And number 1 is simple. Tommy, nobody's spending money right now. Look at the economy. So I actually hear this all the time. And so I emailed 5 of my friends and I asked, hey, what have you spent money on during the quarantine? Send me a list of stuff that you've spent money on. And here's what I got in return. They told me they were spending money on copywriting, messaging, website design, SEO, content creation, project management, dog walking, video production, audio production, podcast equipment. They talked about media. They talked about courses, training, mastermind, relationship advice. They talked about online learning, online skill sets, virtual assistants, admin work, financial spreadsheets, CPAs. They talked about CPAs, tax professionals. I could go on for the rest of this video. The case in point, people are spending money right now, regardless of what's happening in the economy. A lot of the money is being shifted to the people who have acquired skills and are ready to put them to use. So that's number 1. The second myth is that you have to go on a 6-month quest to go acquire skills that somebody else needs before you can actually convert and what I call monetize. And that's not true. Yes, it's important to consistently work on skills, but here's the truth. You don't have to be a rock star. You don't have to be the number 1 in your field. You don't have to have this perfect setup. All you have to do is look at the skills that you already have that you're just above average at, right? You're just a little bit better, and understand that people are willing to pay for a little bit better. As long as you have that skill, people will invest in you. And guess what? You can actually get paid to get better at the skill by putting yourself out there, marketing yourself, acquiring your first few clients, getting better at your craft, and then going from there. That's number 2. And the 3rd myth that I just want to get rid of right now is that you need a fancy website, you need a sales funnel, you need a ClickFunnels account, business card. Wait, do people still use those? Okay, so never mind. The truth is you don't need any of these. You just need to start websites these days. They're basically irrelevant. They're just parking lots for people to talk about what they do, but nobody's going to them and really spending a lot of time there in terms of personal services. They want to know how you can help them in any way possible. So the 3rd myth is simple, is that you need a fancy website, you need a ClickFunnels, you need a complicated sales structure, you need business cards, you need an LLC. You don't need any of this. You need to stop believing that so many people are waiting for that, and that takes them 6 months, and then they wonder why they're stuck. So let's just get rid of that myth once and for all. You don't need a website, you don't need a sales funnel, you don't need any of that stuff. Rather, put that energy, put that money into what we're gonna cover today. Okay, so what I'm about to teach you operates under what I call the FPC system, and all that stands for is fastest path to cash. Here's the truth. I've watched YouTube videos and people are saying, hey, go monetize, go start your YouTube channel, go become a life coach. Those things are gonna take time. I already have a built-in audience. I don't plan on monetizing YouTube for 2 to 3 years. So if you're brand new, that's horrible advice. This is not about your life purpose necessarily. This is about using your skills to make the fastest path to cash. So that's what you're gonna get inside of this video. You're not gonna get complicated stuff that's gonna take you 2 to 3 years, because who has that kind of time? Let's be clear here. You need income. You need to make it fast. You have skills. Let's dive in. Step 1 is about looking at all the skills that you currently have. And again, I'm not saying these massive skills. What are you just a little bit better than? And what you're gonna do is create a brain dump. So you're literally gonna make a list of all of the skills that you currently have. You should do at minimum 15, but shoot for 30, shoot for 40. Just let it go. The whole purpose of a brain dump is to get it out of your head, get it onto paper, and remind yourself that you have things that you are already good at. Again, the key, remind yourself that it's just about having an above average skill. That's all you need. So first thing you're gonna do is make a complete list. Don't worry about how to monetize. Don't worry if it makes sense. Don't worry if it sounds trite or useless. It doesn't matter. The brain dump is about getting all of the stuff that you have in your head, all of the skills that you currently have, and putting pen to paper first. So that's number one, your brain dump, your skill brain dump. Okay, so number two, you're gonna take the brain dump that you did in part one and you're gonna look at it and you're gonna reflect. You're gonna give it a little bit of space, maybe 10 minutes, go for a walk, come back, and then you're going to highlight. And what are you gonna highlight? The most specific, the ones that have the fastest path to cash, the ones that you feel most confident in today. And you might highlight 5, you might highlight 3, and you might be pulling your hair out to highlight 1. That doesn't matter. What matters is that you take a list of about 15 to 30 and you go down to about 3 to 5 at most, but maybe just 1 or 2. And again, it's the most specific. I have a skill in here that says Eastern philosophy. And as much as I love Buddhism, as much as I love Taoism, as much as I love learning about the yogic traditions and all of that stuff, that's not a fast path to cash. It's great for my life. It's great for the other things that I do in my practices, but converting that into cash in the next 30 days is going to be quite difficult. And I share that with you because that's the purpose of a brain dump. You just get it all out on paper and then you circle the top 2 or 3 that you feel like you can get going on it ASAP. Okay, so number 3, let's just say you picked one skill. Now you gotta take a moment and do really 2 things. Number 1 is to remind yourself that this skill is valuable. I remember talking to JJ Virgin on the Academy podcast and she said, Tommy, the things that we have skill in, we don't value as much as somebody else. So I just wanna remind you that the thing that you picked has value in the marketplace. Just because you know how to do website, just because you know how to write copy, just because you know how to do great captions for YouTube, doesn't mean that somebody else isn't really excited and willing to pay to do that for them. So that's number 1. Number 2, let's just come up with a scenario. You're doing email copywriting for entrepreneurs who don't like to write or don't have the time to write. So the problem that you're solving is really one of mental real estate, that you're not only allowing them to grow their business, but you're giving them time and freedom back to know that their copy is being taken care of. Their email copy is being taken care of by you. So what does that problem do for them? Well, it gives them time freedom. It gives them the ability to create sales on demand. It increases conversion, sure. It leads to higher opt-in rates, all of these things. Okay, so your next step is to really identify the problems. It's almost like a second brain dump where you pick a skill, whether it's video editing, SEO, website design, and then start to identify the problems that it solves. Of course, from what somebody gets on the other side, but that's just the deliverable, right? They get an edited video, they get a clean podcast, they get virtual assistant work, but what's that really giving them, right? You're giving them time freedom, peace freedom, satisfaction, progress, all of this stuff. So create a list of the problems that you're actually solving. This is gonna help you in your marketing and in your communication. Okay, so step 4 is where most people just spin their wheels, including me. I've been there, and it's all about getting your first sale. All you have to do is get your first sale. Repeat after me. 1 is greater than 0. I think so many people who go through this process overcomplicate and overconfuse, and they sometimes even think too big, and that creates paralysis analysis. So all you have to do is get the first person. Now, if you're doing a skill that's online based, that people online are buying, which is the whole point of this video, then there's really 2 main ways to do this if you have no current clients. Number 1 is to use a site that is giving you leads for a percentage of your rate. These are the Upworks, these are the Fivers, although I don't necessarily recommend that because it tends to be lower end, although they do have a pro version. But these are the sites where you're gonna be able to get free leads, right? People that are interested in the thing that you have to offer, and they're gonna just take a cut. So that's great. That's one side of the equation. The second side is what I call the grassroots, maybe a little bit of hustle involved in this, which means, let's say you record intros for podcasts. So you may go on Upwork or one of these sites or on Fiverr and start to fish for your first clients there using creative marketing, using creative hooks, using the problems that you did in the prior steps. So that's one side. So the second part of that would be the grassroots. And the grassroots is to listen to a podcast maybe like mine, identify people who don't have great intros, but they don't have the time, they don't know what to do, they don't know what the next step is, and pitch them and creatively pitch them the right way. I'll be honest, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur going on 7-8 years. I get pitched all the time because I do have a public persona, etc., etc. 99% of pitches are not done the right way, but if you're willing to be creative, you will stand out. So in the example, audio production for podcast intros, you would have to listen to my intro and send me a personalized message that says, Tommy, you could do better. Like that would be a great subject line. Or Tommy, your intro, sad face. By the way, I'm currently shopping for a new intro. So if that's you, come and pitch me, email me, and we'll work together. So that's super simple simple example. You have to land your first client through 2 avenues: done for you lead generation service, like all the websites that I mentioned, as well as grassroots, hustle, reach outs, DM, cold emails, etc., etc. And what I teach people is to just do 10 pitches a day. Doesn't matter which platform. So you might do 8 on Upwork, 2 cold emails. You might do 8 cold emails and direct messages and 2 on Upwork, but have different sources of lead generation that you're pulling from, and be consistent. Early on, you're not gonna hear anything. Trust me, nobody's gonna respond. But as time goes on, you be consistent with 10 reach outs a day, you're gonna start getting people to you, and that's when you enter the conversion process. Step number 5, differentiate yourself. Don't just say, I do podcast intros, I do video editing. Spice that up, sexify it, make it bold, claim the thing that you're doing. So there's a difference between I make podcast intros, right? So that's pretty boring. Or you know how those first 10 seconds of a podcast, you're either all in or you're all out? I'm the gal who makes sure that you're all in. I just came up with that. I think it sounds 10 times better. Let's do something else. Oh, I'm a virtual assistant. Oh, I actually give entrepreneurs and executives their freedom back so they can work on what they do best. See the difference there? Or I do financial spreadsheets. I'm a CPA. Oh, I actually help all business owners release the overwhelm and stress of taxes and create a system. Another example is, let's say you do accounting for a small business. You could say that on a profile. You could say, on average, I save my clients $4,000 every time they do their taxes, and most importantly, give them their freedom back. So do you see how you have to be creative? Otherwise, you're just gonna go into the same old pile. You're not gonna get anybody's attention, and you're certainly not gonna be paid a higher amount. Okay, so number 5, now that you have your first client, now that you're having these interactions, you gotta blow it out of the water. You gotta deliver a level 10. Wow, oh my God, she's awesome, he did awesome, they did amazing. You just gotta blow it out of the water. And yes, this might require more work than you're being paid. This might require a little more intention. This might require for you to do a service that's above and beyond your pay grade. It doesn't matter. Blow them out of the water. This is how you stand out. And there's a lot of reciprocity, which states basically that when people get more value than they paid for, they wanna pay you more, and they will pay you more. So that's step 5. Over deliver like your life depends on it. Give them the best service that they've ever gotten. Go above and beyond in your communication, your deliverables, and ask them, how else can I help you? Oh wait, we did this thing. How have you ever considered this? Lead them into paying you for more services, because guess what? They already know, like, and trust you. And then you're gonna ask for a testimonial. Do a video testimonial or a text testimonial, and then you can use that so when you're reaching out to other clients, hey, you know what? Steve from this place was just like you. Jennifer was just like you, and this were their results. You don't need a lot of testimonials, but those first few allow you again to stand out. And that's the point of this video. There's a lot of ways to make money online. There's a lot of noise, but most people aren't standing out. The people that stand out aren't necessarily the best. They're the most creative, they're the most audacious, and they're willing to over deliver and work on their skill until they get it right. And the last step is for you to turn a one-off into a recurring deal. So you did a one-off, you did somebody's copy, you're doing some admin work for them, you're doing some spreadsheets, maybe you're doing some tax stuff. How can you take that one-time service and how could you make that recurring? So for example, so let's say you did 5 captions for social media for a brand, and that was the deliverable, and you agreed on that, etc., etc. Well, then how could you create a package for ongoing work? You could ask them, you could say, hey, listen, I know we did this one-time agreement, but one of the biggest issues with social media is long-term consistency. So when I work with my clients, we do a monthly package where you get 8 captions, you get 3 different images of design, so you never run out. When you're going through a big marketing launch or a team member left, you have all of your bases covered. So you see what I did there? By caring enough about the person that you're serving, you can take a one-off into a recurring charge. And that means for you as a freelancer, as a creator, as somebody who is making fast path to cash, that means predictable revenue, right? And so often people have an amazing experience. They over-deliver for somebody. They may even get a testimonial, but they never asked about how can we keep this going, right? And if you did great work, people, they're gonna wanna work with you again, but sometimes if you don't ask or you don't say you have that available, they might move on to somebody else. Okay, so this video was longer than I intended, but I'm really passionate about this. I wanna end on this note. Now is the time to take ownership. I'll be honest with you, in 2008, when I got laid off on the side of the road, I was pursuing a career on Wall Street, and every time that I got fired or lost my job, I was reminded of this energy that I am the one who's responsible. That no company, no organization, nobody at the White House, they don't necessarily have my best interest in mind. True freedom is being able to know that if you lose everything, and maybe you have during this quarantine season, and if that's the case and you're in a tough spot financially, first of all, I've been there so many times. And I have empathy and compassion. But I also want you to know that this energy can be the time that you say, you know what? I am my own economy. I'm no longer going to rely on somebody else. It doesn't even matter if you eventually go work for somebody else, but to be equipped with skill sets that make you self-reliant, that allow you to go in the marketplace and create value. Remember, creating money online is a direct reflection of value. You already have it. My question for you is, using the steps that we outlined in this FPC formula, are you willing to put yourself out there? Are you willing to be consistent? Are you willing to get doors slammed in your face and people saying you're pitching me? That's gonna happen. It's normal. If you do it from a place of intent, if you over deliver, you could turn what was a big financial challenge into a huge opportunity. And I've seen people, and this has happened to me, where we started to do things like this, and very quickly, not only did we get ourselves out of a tight hole, right? For me, I had to choose between, do I get gas or do I get groceries today? And that was really hard, but it also woke me up and it said, you know what, Tommy? This is not the standard that you're gonna live with anymore. Now is the time to take ownership. That's why I set out on a quest to acquire as many skills as I could and then go out into the marketplace and share them. Your value, your ability to make money during the season is 100% predicated on you. And so you have to believe in yourself and you have to put yourself out there. So guys, thanks so much for being here. Make sure to subscribe below. And please, if you have any questions on this process, I have used this process on hundreds of people. It works if you work it. Post the comments below. What did you get out of this? And if you have any other questions, I'll circle back around and answer for your specific situation. Thank you so much for being here today. The truth is, people are it's really simple. I call it F. Say it with me. So it's fastest, fast path to cut. Hair game's not good. That's why we got the resist average hat. I don't know what's going on.